Om Brahmanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Yanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gaganasadrisham Tattvamasya Dilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadi Sakshibhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami Narayanam Padmabhavam Vashishtam Shaktim Chatat Putra Parasarancha Vyasam Sukham Godapadam Mahantam Govinda Yogindra Mata Shishisham Shri Shankaracharya Matasya Padma Padam Chahasta Malakancha Shisham Tam Totikam Bhartika Karamanyan Asmad Gurum Shantatam Anatoshmi Vishwam Darpanadrishyam Aninagari Tulyam Nijantargatam Pashyan Atmani Mayaya by Horivod Bhutam Yata Nidraya Yasakshat Kurute Prabodha Samaye Swadmanameva Dvayam Tasmai Shri Gurumurtaye Namaidam Shri Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om Govinda Narayana. Okay. Viveka Vairagya, dispassion, discrimination. And then Shama. Shama means control of the mind. Shama, S-A-M-A, pronounced Shama. Shama Dhamma. Shama means controlling the mind. Now, obviously, controlling the mind doesn't mean controlling your thoughts, because you're not in control of your thoughts. Ishvara is in charge of your thoughts. Ishvara means the causal body. Ishvara, Maya, the three gunas, is in charge of your thoughts. So they're coming no matter what. If you think you can control your thoughts, then just tell me what you're going to think in 3 minutes. Okay? Just remember your thought, and then see if you're thinking that thought in 3 minutes. You won't be thinking that thought in 3 minutes. You don't know what thought is going to come up next, because the thoughts are coming from a source other than your own mind. Your own mind is just receiving those thoughts, but those thoughts are coming from the causal body, the unconscious mind, from the past, from your conditioning. We call it Ishvara, or Bhagavan, or Karana Sharira. There's a number of terms that we use. Talk about that. So when we say control of the mind, we don't mean controlling the thoughts. We mean what? Observing the mind from the platform of awareness. Looking at the mind, right, from the point of view of the self, not looking at it from the point of view of the jiva, the individual, the person that you think you are. The thoughts mean one thing to you as a person, and they mean something else to awareness altogether. And when you look at your thoughts as a person, it's very difficult to control them. Understand? Your desires, your fears, these are all thoughts. All these energies that are coming up in them. They affect this person. And so this person loses his discrimination and dispassion because of its identification with the thoughts. Your desires mean something to you. They bias you and prejudice you to certain things and away from certain other things. This person here is full of likes and dislikes. You like some things, don't like other things. And if you're always looking at what you're thinking and feeling from that point of view, I like this, I don't like that, your mind is just going to be completely disturbed all the time. You won't be under your control. Whereas if you step back and look at it from the point of view of awareness, most meditation techniques are like that. Vipassana and these techniques are basically to get you to observe your own mind. There's a problem in that, but it's also a good practice. The problem is that you're splitting one part of your mind off and looking at your mind from within the mind. But at least they're gaining objectivity, a certain kind of objectivity from that. And you're mimicking the power of awareness to look at your mind. So eventually that witness that you've created out of your mind, that observer, will merge into the true observer yourself, pure awareness. When you step back from your thoughts and look at them objectively, you see the pattern, you see the purpose of those thoughts, and they no longer become a problem for you. And the mind becomes what? Peaceful, controlled. But if you try to control with your ego, your thoughts, you can never do it. You'll just get frustrated. If you can't observe your mind and keep it under control, at least you should be able to control your senses. It's called Dhamma. D-A-M-A, Dhamma. Not Dharma, but Dhamma. The Buddhists say Dharma, they spell it like Dhamma. They pronounce it like Dhamma, but Dhamma in Sanskrit means control of the senses. Because whenever you act without controlling your senses, it produces a vasana. We're going to talk about that. It creates a tendency to act again, and it creates karma. We'll explain how that works as we go. So if you, and about half or maybe more of your mental and your emotional problems come from karma that you've created in the world. A lot of it just comes from within inside, from the causal body. It's dumping information into here all the time, and that can disturb your mind. But also, energies coming in from the outside, from the world around, from people and objects and situations around, and that's your karma, your prarabdha karma, it's called. That is operating on you, and that will disturb your mind too. Now you can control those results. You can control your karma if you can what? Control your sense organ. You can control your karma if you can control your mind. Sure enough, it's easy. It's pretty easy. If you have a chance, in other words, if you have a chance to think about your thoughts before you act out, you won't act dumb thoughts. You won't create that tendency to act in that stupid way again. And your mind will become settled. But even if you can't control your mind, if you can control your sense organs, you're going to keep actions from manifesting in the world and keep karma from coming back to you, because once you put out energy in the world, it's going to come back. Now you can't help but act, but you need to be very careful about the kind of actions you're doing, because what do we want? See, what's our goal? Well, our ultimate goal is moksha, liberation or freedom, but our immediate goal is what? A pure mind. See? Because you can't get moksha unless your mind is pure. This is what the qualifications are about. The qualifications are about getting a pure, holy, simple mind that can understand who I am. So I want this mind to be as calm and as peaceful and as pure as possible. And I want my life to be as calm and pure and peaceful as possible. And it's not going to happen if I can't control my senses. The biggest problem, like my food, for example, my tongue, eating too much. or eating the wrong kinds of foods. My sex organ, too much interest in sex, having too much sex. Kind of problems you get with this sort of thing. Entertainment, my ears, music and stuff. You can't, some people just have to have music playing all the time. They get a vasana, a tendency for that. And if they don't hear music, then their mind is agitated. It's very, our senses are always connected to objects outside. That's natural. But I don't want to be the one that's hooking up my senses to the objects. I want them to get hooked up naturally. And if I'm empty, feel empty and incomplete and inadequate, I'm going to try to use my senses to get experiences and objects that will make me feel good. So I need to be able to restrain my sense organs. If you read the Bhagavad Gita, over and over and over again, Krishna tells Arjuna, you need to control your senses. And they defines an enlightened person as somebody whose senses are under their control. The big one is speech. That's where you make more trouble for yourself than anything else, is the words you use. One of our sadhanas, one of our practices in Vedanta is called Vak Tapas. Tapas means the discipline of controlling the speech. Speech should be pleasant and truthful and kind. Never mind your thoughts. Your thoughts should be pleasant and truthful and kind too, but if they're not, well, it's not going to bother anybody but you. It's bad enough to have bad thoughts in your mind, but if you don't want to add bad thoughts, by what? By saying things that will cause disturbance to others, because that karma will come right back to you, and you'll feel guilty, and you'll feel that bad energy coming from people around you that you've hurt or insulted by the way you're speaking. You need to speak carefully. I have to be very careful when I speak, because I never know. Not everybody likes me, see? And I don't want to offend anybody, so I have to be very careful. I use the wrong word, and it makes somebody angry. And then they write me a nasty email, or they, when you're a public speaker, you have to be very careful, very diplomatic and careful in your speech. When I first started out, I was not so careful. And I used to have some troubles. It was my own problem. It wasn't anybody else's problem. It was my problem, because I said words that caused people to disturb people. Now, you can't obviously keep everybody from being disturbed. You need to speak the truth. And if you tell the truth, you will disturb people sometimes. So a lot of people don't want to hear the truth. But in every case, compassion trumps honesty. That is, compassion's more important than being honest. So you don't want to hurt a person's feelings by telling them the truth. Only if they ask you, should you speak the truth. Otherwise, just be polite and friendly and let things go. Or you will just create karma, and that karma will disturb your mind again. Your mind will be fluttering. And every thought that you have that's not a thought of awareness is what? Preventing you from understanding awareness. Just understanding who you are. All your thoughts should be going to this discrimination between myself and the objects appearing in me. That's what I want my mind available for. I don't want my mind available, I don't want my mind occupied with all kinds of worldly thoughts. Understand? So, Dhamma, Shama and Dhamma. Mind control and sense control. Then the next one, this is a very important qualification. We're telling you this because if you're having problems in your spiritual life, it's only because some qualification lack of a qualification is preventing you from understanding. You won't be growing. So then you have to look at yourself and say, oh, I see why I'm stuck here. Now this is one place where you could easily get stuck spiritually. It's called Swadharma. Swadharma means your self-dharma. And Swadharma has two aspects. There are two meanings of this word. One is looking after yourself first. Now that's very selfish, isn't it? Isn't that very selfish? Shouldn't I be really caring about other people and not about myself so much? No, you shouldn't. Sorry. You should take care of yourself first and then take care of others. If others ask you to take care of them, mind you. You should only help other people when they ask you for help. Otherwise, what? You've got to usually have what? A psychological problem. If you're just all the time trying to help other people, improve other people, and fix other people, without their permission, or just because you think it's good for them, then you're not, what? Taking care of yourself. That's called your violation of Swadharma. And you're causing problems for them because you're creating a dependent person. Understand? If you look after everybody else's problems, fixing everybody else's life, doing everything for everybody else, they're not going to what? They're not going to become self-reliant. They're going to start depending upon you. They're going to lose their spiritual power. They're going to stop thinking, stop what? Taking responsibility for themselves. So Swadharma says, I look to myself first. Then what? Then if somebody comes to me and asks something, then I give it. So this is a very important topic because in our societies there's a great virtue attached to helping people, to making a difference. You're making a difference. Everybody thinks they're making a difference. Well, look at the soap operas. I don't know if people still watch the soap operas on TV, but they're the soap operas are all people manipulating other people, taking care of other people for their own good. It's always just for your good that you're doing it, but you justify your manipulation of other people by what? By saying it's good for them. Parents do this all the time. I'm punishing you for your own good. So Swadharma means looking after yourself, solving your own issues first, and then taking care of the world second. We're not saying you shouldn't look after others. We're saying you should make sure that your house is in order before you do that. And be clear about your motivations when you're looking after other people. Are you really doing it in a selfless way, or are you doing it because there's some insufficiency in you, some sense of incompleteness or unhappiness in you, and it just makes you feel good to do it? Right. Then the second, and this is another important point, particularly for spiritual people, is not trying to live up to an ideal. Not trying to make yourself perfect or better. You know, we see these pictures of these lovely saints and so forth. They're all so beautiful. You see, like Amachi. I saw a picture of her in the New York Times yesterday or something. She was hugging. She was so beautiful, you know. She was hugging somebody, and it was a very beautiful photo. And we think, oh my God, I'd love to be like her. She just hugs everybody all day long. She loves everybody. She's just an incarnation of love. I should be like that. And so I strive to be kind and loving and pure and holy and so forth and so on, without looking at the reason why I want to be this way. And without asking myself, is it really true that I'm not pure and holy already? Because we say you're already pure and holy. We say you're whole, complete, pure. There's absolutely perfect as you are. Not only as awareness, you're absolutely perfect as the person that you are, too. Why is that? Huh? Why are you perfect as the person that you are? Because you had nothing to do with the person that you are. Is there one thing that you have that you created yourself? Did you create your body? Did you create your mind? Did you create your heart? Did you create your past? Did you create your mother? Did you create your father? Did you create your education? Did you create the whole environment that produced you? No, you didn't. You were what? Ishvara, or the total, manufactured this person for Ishvara's needs, to solve the needs of the total. So you're here, a pure and perfect instrument of Ishvara. You're doing Ishvara's will, whether you like it or not. So you're absolutely perfect as you are. You can't take responsibility and say, oh, I'm a bad person, I'm an ugly person, I'm a selfish person, I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't do that. I should be like Swamiji. I should be like Amaji. I should be holy and nice and talk sweet, loving words. No, wrong approach. Wrong. You'll never get to moksha doing that. All you'll do is build up your sense of egoism. All you'll do is develop your identity as a limited being by doing that. Understand? I have to accept myself as I am, warts and all. Understand? That's love. Love means if you love yourself, you accept yourself. Because you know you're not to blame here. I'm not responsible for this. What did I do? I didn't do one thing. I appeared here one fine day, awake and alert, and this was all given to me. This body and this mind and this life, it was all given to me. What did I do? I did nothing. I didn't make my personality. I would like to have another personality, maybe a better personality, but I can't help it because this is the personality I've been given. I'm obnoxious. I know it all. I've got all these problems. But it's fine. It's good. I had nothing to do with it. I just have to accept it. Then I can grow. Yes, sir.
There's this one idea when you still have wants, desires, and wishes, you still have in the illusion of separatedness because there's always this unconscious belief behind these dreams and wishes that you have that you are not whole.
Yeah, but that's right. But you can't stop your wants and needs and desires, can you?
Well, it's difficult.
No, you can't do it because it comes from Ishvara. It comes from the causal body. So the only way to solve the problem is to accept it and take it as prasad, as a gift from Ishvara, and see that this is serving Ishvara's purposes. Yes, ma'am.
What is Ishvara? Is it just the body, personal body, or the world?
It's the whole thing. It's the total. Everything that exists is Ishvara, and this body comes out of that. In other words, we call it the Dharma field, the field of Dharma, the field of existence. It's a field of rules. It's laws, and that's what we call Ishvara. We'll explain that as we get into Dharma and Karma. See, because isn't that right? You weren't here at a certain point, and then suddenly you grew out of the earth, didn't you? Huh? Didn't you come out right out of the earth? Your body came out of the earth, your mother's body, all of it, what? You didn't do that. So you can't say you're a bad person. You could, if you thought, well, I want to make myself into this kind of person, and you could create yourself as a bad person, and you made trouble for the world. You know, you raped and you robbed and you lied and you stole and you cheated and you did all of those things. Then you could feel bad because you actually did it. And you could try to change yourself and improve yourself and rectify yourself, because you were responsible. But you're not responsible. So if you want, yes, ma'am.
The karma, uh, if there is incarnation, then all these things come from your former lives.
But your former life comes from here also,
Yes, that's true.
isn't it?
But if you see I'm not responsible, maybe I was responsible in my former life.
Oh, that's reincarnation. There's no evidence that the you that's here now is the same you that was there then. The vasanas may be the same, the tendencies may be the same, but the person is entirely different. I don't know, we're getting off topic now. It's an interesting topic. And I don't think we'll go there right now, unless you really want to hear about this reincarnation business. But it's a secondary topic. It's mentioned in our texts, but it's only mentioned because people believe that this person here is born and dies and moves on, travels. And as long as you take yourself to be this person, then you do reincarnate. But the same person doesn't reincarnate. That's why you don't remember who you were. Huh? When you're born in this life, you don't remember who you were in the last life. And there's a good reason for that. Because the person that's here now isn't the same person that was there before. The vasanas are the same. In other words, the tendencies of this person are going to appear later on, but they're going to appear in a new environment at a different time. Understand? They're now these tendencies that caused you to be what you are now will reincarnate. In other words, they'll create a new circumstance, a new body, new parents, a new situation, a new location, everything. All that will be created new by Ishvara. And the person that comes will be the result of the interaction of the old tendencies with the new circumstances. So you'll have a new person. A different person will be there. It won't be the same. We think, oh, this person, James, is going to be there next lifetime. This person, James, was, there in the last lifetime. No, this person, James, wasn't there in the last time. This person, James, is not going to be there in the next lifetime. The tendencies that have created James, in other words, Ishvara's tendencies, when this James body and incarnation has done its job and his karma is finished, then those tendencies remain, and Ishvara will create a new person. It may be a man, it may be a woman, it may be Indian, it may be American, who knows? And it may do this and it may do that. We don't know what it will be. The point is that Swadharma means not trying to make yourself perfect, not trying to live up to an ideal and be spiritual and walk around, oh, namaste, Narayana. Oh, it's all the Shakti. It's all hug. No. We don't want to try to be good and pure and holy. We want you to see your wholeness and goodness and purity as you are. Because when you do that, you're escaping from yourself and you actually believe that the person who has these problems is you. And you don't have these problems. And because you're not this person. Life's impersonal. There's only one person here. We're all just one person. We've all got one body. We all have one mind. We all have one intellect. We all have one self. We all have one causal body. That's all there is, one person here. Appearing in different forms. Yes, ma'am.
So if you say that we should accept our qualities and at the same time also accept our mistakes, if I only accept that I'm a being that was made and produced that way due to the circumstances, am I not seeing myself as a victim and as powerless?
Well, what if you have good circumstances? Then you're going to think you're quite wonderful.
If I'm looking at the mistake,
Yeah.
then I'm looking at the downside of it.
Yeah, that's right. But we're saying there's no mistake here. In other words, there's nothing. Yeah, human, but there's nothing wrong with you as a human being. There's a judge. You have a judgment in your mind that says I'm good or I'm bad or whatever. I'm not so good, or there's something wrong with me, or you feel guilty because you're not as good as you should be. But that's only a belief. There's no evidence that there's anything wrong with you. Huh?
But maybe let's take an example. If somebody stole something from the supermarket and he goes home and he feels bad, should he just say, "Oh, I was just produced that way. The circumstances turned me into a thief, and that's why." So,
Well, is that true? Did he decide? No, that's a very good question. See, how much responsibility do I have as a person, and how much is just programmed? This is a topic we're going to take. We'll wait till we get to karma and dharma, okay, to finish this discussion. It's a very good point that you're making here. But we want to stay on the topic. We'll never get through the qualifications, and then if we don't even know what the qualifications are, how can you get enlightened? So that's a really good point. Because there's no lines here. You see, I've got little lines in my chart between these different parts, but that's only for our understanding. There's no lines between you as a person and you as the total. Where do I end and where does the world begin? Exactly where? Where's the line? Is there a clear-cut line where I end and you begin? No, there's no lines. There's no separation between me and you, and me and everything. So, how much responsibility do I have as this? Who's responsible? Ishvara or God? What God is, what the jiva is, and who I really am, awareness. These are the topics that we're dealing with here. And our understanding of these three factors, the jiva, the creator, Ishvara or Maya, and awareness, and the world, that's the fourth factor, that our understanding of these is going to answer the question for us. If you get a clear understanding of these four factors, the jagat, the world outside, the jiva, the individual person, Ishvara, the creator and destroyer and maintainer of the whole field of life, and what? An awareness of Paramatma. Once those four factors are understood clearly, then this problem goes away. I don't want to just tell you because, I'd have to tell you the whole science and then that would be the answer. So anyway, so Swadharma means not trying to be something that I am, accepting myself as I am, and working with what I am. Inquiring into my nature. Obviously living a dharmic life. We're going to talk about that when we get to dharma and karma. Dharma and karma is infinitely more interesting than awareness. That's the key. Ishvara and jiva and dharma and karma, those are real interesting topics. Awareness, what can you say? Awareness is awareness. Nothing to say about it. It's just one simple, ever-present, ordinary thing. It's with us all the time. It's not complicated. It's not special. It's just awareness. It's no big deal. It is a big deal, but it's no big deal. I can't talk about it because it's just what it is. But dharma and karma and the jiva and Ishvara, that's a big topic. And that's where the moksha lies, is in understanding these factors. Because understanding dharma and karma and jiva and Ishvara, what will give us a clear knowledge of awareness. So we have to talk about all these things. So, swadharma. Titiksha. Titiksha means forbearance. That means happily suffering the little pinpricks that come to you every day in life. I love my wife. My wife loves her mother. Her mother doesn't love me. because I'm useless. I don't have a regular job, and I do all these things. So I'm not, her mother thinks I'm useless. Now, this creates a problem, doesn't it? My mother-in-law wants to come and visit and stay in our house on the weekend. She wants to come for the weekend. Now, I know that that's going to be hell. Because, right? Because she'll start criticizing me as soon as she walks in the door. And of course, I won't like the feeling of being criticized. I just want to drink my beer and watch my TV. That's all I want to do because I'm off work. See? And my mother-in-law is telling her daughter, why did you marry this useless fellow? Look at him. Now, what am I going to do? Am I going to get in a fight with my mother-in-law and add much more misery to the situation that's already miserable? Or am I just going to be polite and friendly and nice and nod my head and just manage to get along with her for the weekend? I don't want to do this. I don't like her either. I'd love to tell her off. But then what? I'm going to attack my mother-in-law, and then she's going to make her daughter feel bad. And then my daughter, because my daughter loves her mother, then she's going to attack me. So then around and around and around, and all this bad energy is going to be going all the time. So what do? I just say, oh, tough, too bad. I'll just take it easy. I'll just treat my mother-in-law politely. I'll smile, I'll do what she wants, I won't disturb her in any way, I'll let things be. And I'll just wait until the weekend's over. And go. Titiksha, forbearance. Shraddha. Shraddha means faith. We mentioned this earlier. This isn't going to work if you don't believe in it. But, okay, I know what you're thinking, but it's not blind religious faith. Very important. It is not blind religious faith. It's faith pending the result of your investigation. What is the faith that we want? What faith are we asking you to have? That you're beautiful. That's all we're asking. Just believe that you're beautiful, that you're wonderful, that you're whole, that you're complete, that you're perfect, that you're just a luminous being. Believe that. I know it's hard to do, isn't it? Yeah, huh? That's all we're asking you to believe. You're wonderful, you're beautiful. See? But there's some part of me, isn't there some part that's saying, what's he talking about? What is this man saying? That's ridiculous. I'm not beautiful. I'm not holy. I'm not perfect. I'm not pure. What's wrong with this man? Huh? Well, okay, but believe it, and then we're going to give you tools to realize it for yourself. We'll show you that you're perfect and beautiful and pure and holy. We can prove it to you. But he can't prove it to you if you don't have faith in what we're saying. Because all these teachings just prove one thing, that you're beautiful, that your nature is love. Parama prema swarupaha. Your nature is the nature of love, pure love. We'll get to that. That you're whole, that you're luminous, that nothing is missing, that you don't need anything at all to be happy. That's what we're telling you. That's the message of Vedanta. If you just say, no, that's not true. I'm a miserable wreck. I got to do this. I'm a bad person. And da-di-da-di-da-di-da. Well, then this is never going to work. So you have to, you want to, it's nice to believe that. Believe that you're okay, and then apply these inquiries, these techniques that we're giving you, this knowledge to your own situation. Contemplate on these teachings, and it will become clear that you are, in fact, beautiful and pure and holy and good. It will become clear. So, Shraddha, faith. Then, samadhana. Samadhana means what? The ability to keep on a single topic for a long period of time. The ability to concentrate or focus. It's called focus, or concentrating your mind on a given topic for a long period of time. Because it's going to take a while for you to realize this fully. You'll have your glimpses, you'll have your ups and your downs. But you have to keep your mind focused on this idea for a long period of time. And there are going to be setbacks. And it's not, if people say, oh, you know, I can't meditate, I can't focus. You know why? You know why? Because you don't love what you're doing. That's why. That's why. Okay, say you're, do you have any trouble focusing when you're having sex? Is focus a problem? No, focus is not a problem. You focus automatically, right? Because you love what you're doing, right? Isn't that right? When you're having sex, you really love it. It's really good. You're not thinking, oh, how do I focus? Now I'm thinking about the baseball. Now I'm thinking about my cousin. I'm off thinking, huh? You know, you don't think like that. Your mind automatically focuses because the activity is enjoyable and pleasurable for you. Or food, a nice plate of food, a lovely dinner tonight. I didn't have any trouble focusing. Go back for more. So if you have a love for this topic, for who you are, if you have this desire to know who you are and you have love for that, you won't have any problem focusing. Your mind will keep sticking on this topic over and over and over again. Because ignorance is working against you. How many have read the Bhagavad Gita? Yeah, Bhagavad Gita, good talk. It's a war, isn't it? And that whole story is about a war going on inside every person. This war between what? The truth and ignorance. It's a war. It's symbolized in this text. And it's a long, hard war. This fight between the dark side of yourself and the light side of yourself. Between the truth and between ignorance. And so I need to have that commitment and that focus. And that leads to the final topic called mumukshutvam. And that means a burning desire to be free. Now everybody says, oh, I want to be free. Everybody says that. But just how bad do you want to be free? How bad do you want it? You want it a little? You want it somewhat? Or do you want it a lot? One of the examples they use is a man with his head on fire. A person with his head is caught afire, his hair is caught fire. He doesn't think anything but what? Getting some water and putting it out. He's totally committed to that. He has a burning desire to what? Get rid of that pain. And to know who I am. So then, and other qualities are there. Bhakti, devotion. The kind of devotion that a parent has for a child, you should have for this topic. I'm going to stick with it. Determination. All different words that talk about the same power in you to what? Achieve your goal. Because this is a tough one. There's very few people that actually gain enlightenment. It's possible. If you have these qualifications, if you have a proper teaching, a proven teaching, and if you have a guru, a teacher, who can actually teach properly, then you're good to go. And many people who are qualified with the Vedanta and who have proper teachers do gain moksha. Many people. It's the fastest, probably the fastest, most efficient path. Assuming what? You're qualified. It's not like the Neo-Advaita world. The Neo people say there's no qualifications. Isn't that right? Did any? They do. I mean, I'm not down on the Neos. I'm just saying, in the world of the new Advaita, Neo Vedanta, or Neo Advaita, nobody talks about the qualifications. They just say you don't exist, I don't exist, there's no qualifications, there's no doer, there's nothing to do, there's no teacher required, da-di-da-di-da-di-da. That's all they say. So, and it's you know, no wonder that people get tired of it after a while and start looking for a proper teaching. You'll see a lot of the truth in what they say. But they only took this part of the truth. They only took this little part here. That's all they took. All the rest of it, they just dismiss it. They say, that's not the self. That's not real. That doesn't count. Forget it. Blow it off. Well, sure, if you're this, then this is all that matters. But if you're this, then you won't be interested in what? In Neo-Advaita or Vedanta or anything else. You'll just be existing as awareness and enjoying life as awareness. But that's not the case. Here I am. I'm a person. I'm living in this world. I can't deny this world. I can't say it doesn't exist. I have to take it into account. I have to take my ego into account, my feelings into account, my body into account, my karma into account. I've got to take others in the field of existence that I'm living in. I've got to take that seriously. And understand that, because by understanding that, I can get to here. By simply denying that this exists, or that it's unreal, or it's all a dream, without understanding what it means to say it's a dream, that's not going to solve my problem. I'm just going to end up with a case of enlightenment sickness, meaning I think I'm enlightened, but I'm not. I maybe have some experiences and epiphanies and so forth, but so see, this is why we're very much differ from the modern spiritual teachings, is because, you know, we take this seriously. You know, we discuss the problem of samsara. The joy is not in the object. We discuss the topic of knowledge and experience. We discuss the means of knowledge and the qualifications. It needs to be understood. If you're going to do this seeking properly. See? I mean, how long would you spend to become a doctor? How many years? 10 years? A lawyer? 10 years to become a lawyer? Even in Germany, I'm told it takes a year to get a fishing license. Is that right? About a year to qualify to catch a fish. To put a worm on a hook and put it in the water, it takes 1 year to qualify in Germany. Yeah. No, a friend told me, a German friend, we were walking up near Hanover in this lake, and I said, gee, that was a nice lake, I'd like to fish there. He said, oh, you can't do it. I said, why not? He said, you have to have a license. I said, okay, we'll go buy a license. In America, you just go to a store and you give them $50 and they give you a license and off you go. So no, I said, what do you mean you can't buy a license? No, not possible. You have to qualify. You have to go to school, fish school. So what, if it takes a year to qualify for catching a fish, then it's how long is it going to take to qualify for enlightenment? See, if you believe in experiential enlightenment, then you won't like this idea of being qualified at all. You'll just want to go someplace and have an experience and hope that that experience will last. But we know very well from our own experience that experience doesn't last, including spiritual experiences, so it's sad to say. And this is why it's such a difficult topic and why so few people actually are set free. And once you understand this, then you can work on yourself in a very, very knowledgeable way, in a patient, easy way. And you can get this pure mind that was required for understanding the truth. Now, Oh my God, we're almost done. So we've covered the preliminaries. These are the basic topics. And tomorrow in the morning we'll start with the self. I'll teach you this science with the three bodies, the three states, the three gunas, the samsara chakra, and so on and so forth. We'll get into the nature of reality. But all of this, we've been what, one day? We've been many hours we've been talking. Now we've got an idea of what's required for understanding this, who I am. There's obviously more to it. In my book, it's laid out very carefully, all the logic, you can get that. I've written another book which is almost finished in German. We have an American publisher for it, and it's pure Vedanta, the same as the other book but different. Or I wouldn't have written it if it was the same book, obviously. And a friend of mine in Berlin, Matthias, he's translated 10 chapters so far, and so in another 2 or 3 months, that will be completed in German. And it will be easier for you to understand than the first book. I wrote it for people for whom English is a second language. So I made it more direct and easier to understand than the first book. Yeah, but it's the same topic, but I've added new things. There's a topic, the topic of Dharma and Karma is expanded, Jiva and Ishwar is expanded, topic of values is included, and a chapter on the enlightened person is also included. So, and the website, we have a website. You can, if you're interested in really getting into this and really studying it, we have a big website. There's thousands and thousands of pages of documents on there. There's videos, audios, and must be 4,000 or 5,000 pages of e-satsangs, practical questions that people have written in over the last 10, 15 years are posted on there. They're free for your enjoyment on all these various topics. Karma, Dharma, the self, free will, reincarnation, all of that is explained very clearly in many different ways on the website. So this is obviously just a taste and introduction, and you're free to pursue it as you will. If it feels like this is a good path for you, like that. So tomorrow we'll take the topic of who am I? What is the self? And after that, we'll deal with yoga. Probably the most of the next 3 days will be on the topic of yoga. Namaste, Narayana, Govinda.